Hello everybody, and hopefully not nobody. I'm JJumbo. I kept hearing from reviewers that Wario Land 4 is this masterpiece of a game that has almost zero flaws. I hope they're right, because I spent $30 on it. I could have bought food with that. This game starts off with a cutscene that initially looks like it could be something from a comic book. See? I think it's a bit comical, because it hides that Wario is driving that car. I wonder who this cutscene is about. It also shows a bit of the incentive with a pyramid being discovered, and Wario wants whatever treasure could be found there. The music is also something real funky. After the ominous part in the beginning, it plays this song that I believe uses a bunch of random samples in order to create something incredibly groovy. After you start a new save file, you see Wario discovers the pyramid, but then falls down into the center of the pyramid. But for someone like Wario, who only cares about gold, and can't die, just like me, apparently I died. Oh, we don't talk about that time. He shakes it off, and then starts exploring the entry passage. So the first area you enter is the Hall of Hieroglyphs, and it shows you the basics of the controls. First, it assumes you know how to jump, but this is Wario, so he can't jump as high as Mario. I mean, look at those legs. I'm surprised he can even walk. But then, for the specific moves, it provides a drawing of how to execute it. You know, part of me thinks, because there's a drawing of it on a wall, that anyone can do it. Fun fact, not everyone can do it. I think for the most part, Wario controls great. Sure, he's not as simple as Mario or jump as high as him, but this is Wario. He plays more with how he can conquer the level design than wahooing past everything. For example, whenever there would be a slope, there could be a small path you would have to roll through, but it might not be as obvious on when you would need to use it. Or there could be some points where you'll need to find enough space to rush through with the dash attack. I think that the only thing that doesn't feel magnificent is the throwing mechanic. I might just be wrong with how I approach it, but sometimes I'd be trying to toss something up, but then it goes to the right. You know, it might just be my D-pad. Nah, it can't be that. After you beat the entry passage, you can select any world to do next. And after you make a decision, you aren't stuck with it. So if there's a specific level that is giving you troubles, you don't have to make a sacrifice in order to beat it. Oh. See, this actually for something else. It's for Yoshi's Woolly World. See, this is actually a really hard game. Most of the time when I was playing, I just finished each world when I needed to, but knowing that there was an alternative was nice. I personally chose the Emerald Passage first. Basic. What I consider the easiest one. Additionally, it shows more of what makes Wario Land weird. Instead of power-ups being something that's almost always a good thing, like in Mario, Wario has transformations. Whenever you get inflicted by something wacky could happen. Like you could turn into a snowball, be bouncy like a spring, eat too much, and now you become fat, or turn into a zombie. Who knows? The thing about these are that they will remove or change parts of your moveset. So there are circumstances where you'd want to steer clear from the things that could transform you. Also, the game knows this, because it will create obstacles that you will have to evade in order to grab something. With these transformations, they might slow down your movement, which in most scenarios I would hate. But how this game likes to trick you, it forces you to think about how to avoid it, or when you would need to use it. Then there's another moveset thing that I almost forgot about. It's swimming. This game is one of the few that I've found is decent at water controls. First, because Wario is a bit heavier, he doesn't feel too nimble on land, even though when he needs to, he can shmove. Just like me! That makes it so going in water doesn't feel like I'm missing anything. Also, the controls in water are still decently fast. You can swim at a snail's pace for more precision, but if you want to step it up a little, you can mash the B button to go fast in whatever direction you're facing. Additionally, if you want to surface faster, you mash the A button. The only thing I did enjoy with it is that you can technically attack enemies, but the hit detection seemed to be smaller than being on land. So in order to attack them, I would need to get a degree in trigonometry in order to do that. After 12 years, I finally got a degree in trigonometry. Now let's see if it paid off. Wario Land 4 has some things that set it apart from almost every other 2D platformer that I've played. It's not just about going as fast as you can, trying to get to the end. You actually have to comb through it all in order to grab all that beautiful treasure. There are the basic gems that only increase the counter by a little bit, but for me at least, they just show where I've been. Those ones are some that I might pass up if they seem way too out of reach. But one that I would nearly never try to pass up were the diamonds. Like Minecraft? Yes, like Minecraft. These ones give the most points, and you get these nice little sound effects of grabbing them. But because they give the most points, they are harder to score. Most of the time, if you want to retrieve them, they'll be in these puzzle rooms where it will test a random skill. Some of them are really easy. Okay, maybe not that easy, but it could be something like hitting a button at the correct time or throwing an object in the correct spot. There were a couple that were pretty difficult. Like, I still don't know how to solve this one. But if you ever messed up, you can reset the whole room just by going back down the pipe. Then in every level, there'll be shards of a jewel. And in order to fight the boss of that passage, you'll need to gather everyone in each level for that world. Most of them are not too cryptic to get to it, but for me at least, it works as a marker to see if I overlooked something in the level. Even though most of the enemies, when they try to attack you, would only modify your state, there are some that actually attack you. But Wario is this beefy guy. I mean, look at him. He looks like he goes to the gym. Maybe not for legs though, but still. He can take a lot of damage before dying. But if you need to recover HP, wimp, you can grab hearts that are scattered around, or some enemies will drop smaller hearts when you defeat them. I think in about 2/3 of the levels, I wasn't struggling with health, but there were a couple that did make me worry about it. But if you're having a really rough time, there were hidden chests that contain a full restore. Ah! I got it! Full restore! Worth it. The most important item, I think, is a keyser. It's this weird ghost thing that has a key for a nose. I feel that living like that would suck. See, this sucks. The reason why they are the most important, that is what's needed to unlock the next level. Just like the jewels, they aren't hidden in the most complicated spots. Most of the time, they are right next to frog switches. Then after you jump on a frog switch, it will start a bomb that will destroy the level after a set time. Doing that also morphs the level in weird ways. In most of them, you might need to find a new way back because a path is not blocked off by some new blocks. I love this frog switch idea, because it forces you to create a mental map of the level and act on the fly. But before that state, you can take however long you want to exploring. And the more you explore, the more you can get a better map. But if you explore too much, it means that you could be forgetting which route is the best one. It does suck for me at least that it isn't too hard getting back in time, but there might be some other, more valuable collectibles in the altered version. So you might want to stay a while and explore just a little bit more. Now most of the levels are extremely eccentric in its own way, except for most of the levels in the Emerald Passage. Those are really basic. But here are a few that really stood out to me. First, there is Pinball Zone. It centers on the throwing mechanic, with you having to time these weird looking balls into this blue box, and you have to do all of them before you unlock the next part of the level. With the altered state, it just adds a timer and adds a new hazard that zaps the floor occasionally. This altered state isn't anything crazy, but having to throw those balls in a time limit makes it stressful. Then there's a big board, which has you timing a dice roll in order to get a certain outcome, but I'm pretty bad at timing rolls like this. What the frog switch does to this area is that you have to get to the end of the dice. This one kinda sucks because I never knew that there is an end to it. And you have to land on the exact spot for it to end. Next, there's Domino Row. This one has you race against a set of dominoes where you activate it when you hit a button, but some gems will be unobtainable unless you hit that button. So this gives a bit of risk and reward on whether you should book it to the end or grab the gems, but miss out on the big prize at the finish line. This one's alternate version isn't anything too special, just rushing to the end with a few new routes, but you will intersect with some of the races you did against the Dominos. I get it, I'm bad at racing them, okay? Then there's Crescent Moon Village, which is this horror-themed level, with part of it having this pirate ghost steal fallen gems, and on the altered version it's stealing the keys from you. With Fiery Cavern, it starts off with this lava level, and for some reason, I can't grab these gems. I am tall, okay? But when you hit the frog switch, it turns to ice, and then you find all these new paths and can now grab all the collectibles. For the level Hotel Horror, you go through this hotel. No! Get this, it's horror themed. Whoa. But because it's a hotel, you have to go through these rooms that almost randomly feel like they lead to other rooms, but they all have numbers on it. So you'll have to remember the way to get back. And all the frog switch really does is set a timer that you'll have to get back by. Then the final level is the Golden Passage, where the second you go to it, you land on a frog switch. So now you are sight reading a level, and this one is pretty hard, but I think it's an excellent way to prove that you know the game. Now there is one collectible I haven't mentioned. I know, I'm the new saying it all. But this one are sound CDs.
Do you even know what a CD is? Maybe.
There's only one of them per level, so you would think that is just a normal thing where you can listen to each level's song after collecting the music disc for that level. Do you think this is normal? His favorite food is garlic! Oh. No, for some reason they created new, well, I wouldn't consider them songs? More just experimental sounds. They also have these weird graphics that I don't know how to explain them. Some of them are just people in Wario costumes, then some are 2-frame animations of random objects. And some of those animations are so uncanny, like there's one of a fox or something, but then his face stretches. I'm just imagining that walking down the street, and then I find out they're listening to this.
Hey, what are you listening to? Oh, I'm just listening to You and Your Shoe. Huh?
It's really weird, because the music in this game is actually really catchy. It has a lot of styles from jazz, blues, some metal, and some soul. And it makes sense why I like the soundtrack of this game. I can like lots from these genres. This game does play a lot with changing the music while it's playing. For instance, whenever you would crouch, the music slows down just by a little. But then if you let it sit idle, it slowly fades out, and then you hear Wario just lifting some dumbbells. But then there are small parts of your moveset that would affect it as well. Like if you ground pound, it wobbles the music just like it's being played on a record player. But then when you get caught on fire, it speeds it up. This whole game is just weird. Even the sound effects for Wario, he'll make random noises whenever anything important happens. Sometimes it's not even relevant to whatever just happened to him. Like he could get hit by an enemy and just laugh. I really think this game just wants to trick me, but it is a fun time. The only thing I would consider a mediocre time are the bosses. First off, the designs of most of them are a bit grotesque, which I kinda get it. It's Wario, look at him, he eats garlic. No, you're not making me eat garlic again! But also battling the bosses are pretty annoying. The hitboxes on them are either really small, or their phase on when you can attack them are really small. Then, you have to wait for them to be vulnerable again. Now, it's nothing like Sonic Superstars, where you'll have to wait an eternity for them to be vulnerable. But there is a time limit, where it feels like every attack you do miss is wasted time. The nice thing about these bosses are that you can just ignore a majority of the actual boss, and it's with minigames. Now, in order to play these minigames, you must spend 5,000 of your hard-earned coins. Then, you can choose 3 to play. The first one is Wario's Home Run Derby. It's just a little baseball game where you have to hit a baseball to get a home run to score a point. Then when you get 3 home runs, you get a frog coin. The next one is the Wario Hop. This one is a rhythm game where you hop over random obstacles. The first little bit is pretty easy, but when you get to around 60 points, it starts becoming actually difficult. You score a point after every enemy you jump over. Then when you hit 15, you get a frog coin. The final one is Wario's Roulette. It just has you trying to match whichever face is shown. For some reason, the only way I could actually remember the face is by describing what it was when it was shown. Old Pig Wario. Yes! Robot Wario. Let's go! Cringe Wario. Oh. Wait, why was it right? After you match 3 of them correctly, you get a frog coin. I really love the Wario Hop minigame, but the other 2 are just alright. I do love that these feel like a predecessor to WarioWare. Now you might be wondering, what do these frog coins do? Well, you can buy a weapon to attack a boss. Like a trident? No, and that's a Nintendo 64 controller! There is a kind of type matchup where the really expensive ones will deplete a boss's health bar almost completely, but you have to figure out which one is the best for each one. The only one that doesn't have a pure weakness to any of them is the final boss, which I think the final boss is the only one that's actually good. It starts off with you attacking some of the masks she has, but after that phase, she will launch projectiles relating to something from the previous bosses. Then, in the final stage, she'll steal parts of the floor, so if you miss your attack, you'll get less ground to stand on. But then after you defeat the final boss, the pyramid starts to collapse. So now Wario must escape with all that gold. But look at him, he's Wario.
Fine, I'm gonna have more, but this time it's gonna be powder.
Then, the cat you see at the beginning turns out to be a princess. And after she transforms back, she kisses Wario, then pulls him to heaven or something. But this is Wario. No, I don't want to eat garlic. Please, just stop. And he spends all of his money on food. So I think that this game, even though I've only played it recently, it might be one of my favorite 2D platformers. But I'd still give it a 9 out of 10, just because those bosses are too annoying for me to come back to.